now be recorded.
Sure, Remy, certainly I will help you here. Okay, the reason the question why I'm asking is just to understand if you're already working on that, it means we can start advanced topics. If you are not working on absence management before or not on any other ERP, then I can start from the basics. That's the reason. Okay, I will walk through the course curriculum. So what are all topics we are going to cover as part of our session? How we are going to present this training and timelines that will talk. Okay. Please stop me if you have any questions anywhere or if you need any examples. Right.
Okay, sure.
So first we'll start introduction to absence management. Okay. So what are all key setup prior we have to do before we're moving on to the configurations, tenant level, and like for example period schedules, etc. So in detail we'll discuss in there and how to enable for the specific countries, etc. And also the difference between time off and leave time. In Workday, we have two components in absence management, time off plan and another one is leave time. So what Workday suggests here, if any absence plan lesser than 14 days, then consider time off, create a time off plan. If it is more than 14 days or longer time, then consider or create a leave time. But when you're working with the customer, it's very hard to judge which plan is suitable for the requirements, either absence and time off. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail. So we will discuss the key differences between time off plan and absence types. In the first chapter, we'll start from time off plan. The time off plans. So for we have two types of time off plans. You can say call it as simple time off or basic time off, or you can also call it as accrue as you go. Other one is advanced time off. Okay, what are the key differences here is if you want to track the balance, for example, an employee is eligible for 10 days of vacation, 10 days of vacation when if the employee completes 1 year of service with the organization. Then the 10 days should be added to the employee to avail a leave. That case, we can select advanced time off. Another time off is basic time off or simple time off. If you don't want to track, you want to give, employee can take as much as they want. Employees can take as much as they want leaves. Okay, some companies they will give, especially oil industries, etc. For example, an employee may tell TD STT until the employee will recover, company ready to give as much as the employee want. But they have to give some certain proofs and some documents for that. In that case, we'll go with simple time of plan. Okay, so here we'll discuss what are the types of time of plan types, what are all time of plan components we have. So in order to create the time of plan, we need time off, we need time of type, we need eligibility rules, we need balance period, we need period schedule, and we need accruals. All these are nothing but components. Okay, what are components we need? As I mentioned, accrual, time of definition, we need balance period, period schedule. Why these are all data required and how to configure this detail in detail we will discuss in our first topic. Once
Okay.
we click components, okay, because components is the most important we should know. And sometimes if you are going to configure absence management, we should be in a position to gather the data from the customer. So we should know each and every field from the components that will be covered here. Then we'll move on to setup time of plans. Here, as I mentioned, first we'll start from simple time off, basic time off. Then we'll convert the basic time off to advanced time off by selecting the track balance enable. Then what is carryover limits? What is upper? What is lower limit? For example, carryover limit. An employee can take 10 days of vacation days in a year. That is a customer requirement. When employee moving on to 2021 to 2022, and if the employee has not utilized any amount, any leave the employee has not availed, what happens to the balance? Do you want to carry over the balance also to the next year so that the employee will get 20 days? Or do you want to put an upper limit saying that employee upper limit, so these many accrual days only employee can take, not more than that? Or do you want to put a lower limit only these many days should carry forward, not more than that. So that will be controlled here through carry over limits, upper limit, lower limit. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's true, right? For example, I have 10 days of vacation, but I'm not taking a single leave. So there will be expiration rule, correct? So no company
Yes.
will let you take all the balance for the next year. They will say, if you are not taking, that's not our problem. Only we can give you 3 days. We can accumulate it. So that is going to be controlled here. So
Mm-hmm.
then accrual frequency method. Accrual is nothing but accumulating. Okay, the balance accrual accumulating. So every year, every month, the value will be accumulated, right?
Yes.
So, for example, let me give an example here so we will be clear. Initially, we have configured a time off plan on semi-monthly basis. If an employee work for 15 days, we want to add zero point 0.5 day to the accrual, which means employee can take half day of leave. If an employee can work 30 days, employee can take 1 day of leave per month. Based on that, you set up the rule. Later, you want to change the semi-monthly frequency to monthly frequency. Then how to change? What is an impact on the plan and employees? That we'll cover here.
Okay.
Then after time of plan architecture. So there are certain requirements. I have only one time of plan, but employee can request multiple time offs. Okay. For example, I have a time of plan called vacation time off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, vacation. But customer has given option here: short-term vacation, long-term vacation. So, but customer strictly put a rule: once the short-term vacation balance is completed, then only the long-term vacation balance employee can avail the long-term vacation. Okay. So here we have to put certain validations. So one time of plan, two time of short term, long term vacation. But the mandatory validation is employee should first complete the balance from the short term. Then he can take from the long term. So that also we will discuss here. Certain customers have different requirements. We should know all possible ways. And
Mm-hmm.
time of plans with multiple accruals. Here also similar requirement. Instead of
Okay.
one accrual, here you are going to configure multiple accruals. So what happens in the same scenario? Short term I said 5 days, long term I said 10 days. Once the 5 days is completed, completely exhausted, no balance is available, then the employee has to take the long term balance of 10 days, which means I require to get multiple accruals. One is 5 days, another one is 10 days. Similarly,
Okay.
here I have two time offs, short term, long term. Okay. Then
Okay.
accrual priorities. So when you're selecting multiple accruals, which accrual should go first? Employee has to take from which accrual? The balance has to take from which accrual? Once the balance is exhausted, then move on to the second priority. So we have to define priorities when you have multiple accruals. Okay.
Okay.
So then also time of priorities also we have to define. This is mandatory. So like multiple timers whenever we have so which timer should employee has to avail first. Then validations. Validation in the sense, for example, an employee has a balance of 5 days. Okay, employee is requesting a time of for 6 days, but in fact he has only 5 days of balance. So we should not allow that employee to take 6 days. Correct? I have to populate an error here.
Correct. Yes.
You have only 5 days. You can't take more than 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, uh, the time of record is minimum that employee has to take one full day, but employee is requesting half a day, zero point 0.5 day. I have to give
Mm-hmm.
an error saying that you should take only one full day, not half a day.
No, no.
Okay, that we can control through this validation. Or another example, you ask that if any employee requesting for sick time off, the employee has to mandatorily attach a document as a proof. If they're not attaching, you want to give an error message. So that will
Mm-hmm.
follow validations. Then holiday calendars we will discuss. So each country have a different holiday structure. So based on the country, we'll configure when is the holiday and all, and we have to bring those holidays into the calendar whenever the employee requesting time off and leave off. At the same time, we will also configure work shifts. If the customer has different types of work shift, morning, evening, night, then we'll configure the work shifts as well. Then this is the most important area, calculations.
Mm.
Workday has given few standard default calculations based on certain countries, legal rules, because absence plans strictly will follow each country legal rules, or you can also call labor laws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are certain plans based on the company policies also. So country-based as per the country-based legal rules, Workday already given some standard calculation. Apart from that, we also have to learn custom calculations, something like arithmetic calculation, condition calculation, instance set comparison calculation, instance value calculation, and constant value calculation, date increment or decrement calculation, date difference calculation, lookup related calculation, and aggregate calculation. Okay, these are all 10 calculations. In fact, we have 12. So we'll discuss all the calculations, custom calculations. Then we'll configure accruals for the workers, shift workers, how to configure. Example, if an employee working in shift A, the employee should get uh, 3 days of leave per month. If an employee working in shift B, employee should get 5 days of leave. Employee working in shift C, night shift, employee can get 10 days of leave. If you want to write certain rules, we need a conditional calculations here. Same time, years of service. So you want to give the leave balance, time of balance based on the number of years of service that employee has. Example, an employee completed 1 year of service, you want to give 5 days of leave per annum. An
Mm-hmm.
employee completed 2 years of service, you want to grant 10 days of leave. An employee completed 3 years of service, you want to give 15 days of leave. You are giving the leave balance based on the years of service by the employee. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that scenario we discuss. Then mid-period hires, for example, an employee hired in the month of first date and the employee completed 30 days. Employee will get 1 day of leave. When if the employee hired on the first day of any month and completed 30 days, employee get 1 day of leave. But if you hire the employee in mid of the month, 15th of the month or 16th of the month, employee should get only 0.5 day, correct? Pro rata should happen, correct? So
Yes.
how to have that requirement? And also termination. If employee terminated end of the month, second half of the month, which means 16 to 31st, anytime the employee terminated, the balance will employee will get for the current month. If the employee terminated first half of the month, means 1 to 15, the employee should not get balance for the current month. So how to write that rule, that is also we'll discuss. And also additional logic to handle mid-period.
Quick question, Kiran. Are
Yes,
these
please.
rules all are these rules all company specific or it's the standard for Workday?
It's company specific, sir. Some
Okay.
customers they don't look into the pro rata. They're fine to pay any amount for the. I mean, they're fine to give full 1 day leave. Some companies very strict. Based on the number of days only they want to give the balance. It's purely based on the customer requirement.
Okay.
But Workday has flexibility to meet both the requirements. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then once we complete this time of type and all, we'll include few more scenarios. Then we'll move on to the leave type. As I said, two types of plans we have. One is time off, another one is leave off. Then the leave of absence again here we have simple leave type, advanced leave type. What are the difference between simple and advanced? Same thing, tracking, not tracking. And what are all leave type of components we have? Okay, and how to create a simple leave type and modify the simple leave to complex leave, advanced leave. And we do have leave type components, something like leave type, eligibility rules we have to configure, leave of absence rules we have to configure, period schedules we have to configure, and balance periods we have to define, additional fields we have to define. Example, um, let's take up maternity leave. Maternity leave is a long-term leave. The requirement demands employee must complete at least 6 months of service, then only employee eligible for this leave. You have to write an absence rule here. Employee hire date is greater than equal to 6 months. Then only this leave should be available. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then second criteria is employer wants to capture child birth date. So you have to create a field here, additional field, so that employee, whenever they're requiring the leave, they can enter the child birth date. So you can track from there onward, 6 months employee can avail the leave.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, there is an impact on the leave. If the employee taking more After 6 months, companies are still giving the leaves, okay, as per the law, as per the policies, but they may not pay salary for those employees. So it's an impact on the payroll. It's an impact on the benefits. Correct.
Mhm.
It's an impact on the talent. We have to do an additional configuration such activities. Okay.
Got it.
Then eligibility, these also have validation rules. If you want to ask certain documents to an employee, you want to make optional fields as mandatory, or you want to make additional fields as mandatory. So that is also you can do. Here we'll talk about bereavement leave and supporting data, additional fields, and what are other data you want to ask the employee in order to approve the leave. That is also will be discussed. Not only bereavement, we'll talk about more plans here: maternity leave, bereavement leave, continuous sick leave, okay, long-term disability leave. We will discuss all those. Then after business processes, we have certain business processes are available in Workday, are exclusive for absence management. Request time off, correct time off, request leave of absence, request employee written from leave, okay, time of adjustments. So these are the business processes we have. So these are all like request time off, which let the employee to request time off. Then the step it goes to the manager for the review, or manager's manager based on number of days he has taken. Example, if the employee requesting for 3 days, they want to send the step to approval to the manager. The manager can approve the leave. Or if the manager can send the request back to an employee and request the employee to take only 2 days, he can't approve for 3 days. And manager can deny the leave. In the second scenario, if the employee is requesting more than 3 days, let's say employee requested 5 days, as per the
Mm.
policy, manager approval also required. In that case, you have to configure the BP accordingly. Okay, so these are all examples, and also how to attach a document. So these are also will be discussed in detail during our business process. Apart from that, we'll also talk about the standard reports given by Workday. Okay, remember we're not getting any reports, but we're going to
Mm.
configure some standard reports.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, that is also we'll discuss. So notifications, alerts, yeah,
Okay.
going to be covered. And end-to-end
So
testing. Mhm.
about being company specific, do some like maybe some executives of some company like VPs, do they tell someone who is a Workday consultant doing absence management, do they tell them like, can you give me a report of people who've worked for the company for 5 years, things like that? Is the Workday consultant able to do that?
Okay, so you were saying if a manager is asking as a report something like they want to know the employees who are working for five
Yeah,
years.
years
Yeah,
of service, or give me a report of people who took PTO in the month of March, things like
right.
that.
Those are simple reports. Those are that complex. And we
Okay.
have standard reports also, maybe. So if you want to know the employees based on years of service, I believe we have a standard report. And if not, we can also create a custom report. It's not that complex, easiest one. And we can share the report with the vice president under share tab. You can enable the security who can access. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So this curriculum doesn't cover anything on reporting or anything like that, right? It only
No, no.
covers.
I did
Okay.
include. I'm going to explain the standard reports, like
Okay.
how many employees has taken leave in the current month, how
Okay,
many
you're gonna touch that. Okay.
yeah, how many employees has still balance and not taken any leaves in this month, how
Hmm.
many employees we have done adjustments. So we do have standard reports on that. I'm gonna explain, and if any
Hmm.
simple reports you want, I can configure and I'll show you. Not a problem. Apart from
Okay.
that, termination payouts also important concept. So once any employee terminated and that employee has leave balance, the employee has to get the amount for that, correct? So we have to
Hmm.
set the payroll system. So how to process that? I mean, where we can do an adjustment, that also we will discuss.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. That makes
Great.
sense.
Okay, so my organizer will be in touch with you. You guys can have a call and discuss and let me know the further
The
how. Okay.
okay. How
My
many how many weeks is this training?
That's why, sir. That's I have to talk with. So you tell me, do you want daily basis or weekend
Well,
sessions?
weekend. Okay.
Alternate,
Yeah, I'll talk to him about that.
right? So minimum I need around 30 hours to complete this. Okay,
Okay.
at least 5 to 30 hours. So from my side, I will provide the activities and I will give the mm, material
Okay.
also. Okay,
And there's access to tenants, right?
absolutely. The organizer will provide that. Yes.
I think that's it.
Okay, nice to talk to
All right.
you. So, and though it is too late, you have joined. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for your time, sir. Take care. Stay
No
safe.
problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good
Bye.
day.